They considered them friends, trusted them with their lives. But the ocean holds secrets, and its most intelligent predators do not forgive mistakes. These are stories about the thin line between love and tragedy, when the show must go on, even if the price is human life. September 23, 2015, the Gulf Coast Adventure Marine Park in the city of Biloxi was preparing for another day of performances. The recently renovated stadium with 5,000 seats was almost full. Tourists sought refuge from the late summer heat, unaware that they were about to witness one of the most horrifying incidents in the history of marine parks. Gulf Coast Park, founded in 2001 by former marine biologist Dr. James Henderson, had transformed from a modest rehabilitation center into one of the main marine attractions in the southeast of the country. The park's jewel was Nova, a 6-meter female orca caught in waters off the coast of Russia in 2008. Weighing nearly 4 tons, Nova was smaller than most performing orcas, but her agility and intelligence made her shows particularly spectacular. 31-year-old Savannah Kellaway had been Nova's primary trainer since 2010. Even in her childhood, which she spent on the Alabama coast, her sincere compassion for marine inhabitants set her apart from others. She spent countless hours as a volunteer in rescue centers, often staying long after closing to comfort injured animals. That same empathy guided her in her scientific pursuits, which led her to earn a master's degree in marine mammal studies at the University of Miami. When Savannah joined the internship program at Gulf Coast, her unwavering kindness, innovative training methods, and keen attention to each animal's unique signals quickly earned her a reputation as both a gifted trainer and a deeply caring soul. By the beginning of 2015, Nova's behavior began to show alarming tendencies. The orca started exhibiting signs of stereotypic behavior, repetitive swimming patterns, and unusual vocalizations during nighttime hours. Dr. Rebecca Simpson, the park's lead veterinarian, documented a whole range of concerning changes. Nova began refusing food, displaying aggressive postures toward junior trainers, and showing increasing resistance to performing basic commands that she had executed flawlessly for years. In March, the first serious incident occurred. Nova pinned a trainer against the pool wall during a routine exercise. Although injuries were avoided, Savannah noted this as a critical warning sign. By summer, Nova's unpredictable behavior had escalated. She began ignoring recall signals, swimming in chaotic patterns during performances, and emitting strange sounds that even the most experienced trainers had never heard before. Savannah repeatedly voiced her concerns at staff meetings. In her journal entry from September 15th, she detailed Nova's increasingly unstable condition. It noted erratic eye movements during sessions, refusal to perform basic commands, and increasingly frequent displays of aggression. The greatest concern was a morning incident when Nova lunged at the underwater viewing window, something she had never done before. Despite these warnings, the park's management, under pressure to maintain high attendance figures during the peak tourist season, insisted on continuing the shows. The morning of September 23rd was filled with unusual tension. Nova's pre-dawn behavior was particularly alarming. Throughout the night shift, the orca emitted a series of high-frequency whistles and clicks. Night trainer Derek Foster had never heard such sounds in his 8 years working with marine mammals. Adding to the already explosive situation was the fact that, as later revealed from the park's maintenance records, the complex filtration system failed overnight, disrupting the fragile balance of the environment in Nova's tank. At 11:15 a.m., when Savannah began the main show, even the most experienced staff felt that something was wrong. The usual upbeat music echoed through the stadium as she introduced Nova to the crowd of 4,300 spectators. But the orca's first appearance in the arena was hesitant. Nova swam around the perimeter 3 times, a behavior she hadn't demonstrated since her early training sessions, before responding to Savannah's signals. The first half of the performance proceeded with mounting tension. Nova executed her standard repertoire, but every movement seemed forced. During a routine back swim, Nova suddenly snapped her jaws, an action that prompted junior trainer Maria Delgado to radio a warning to Savannah. But amid the noise of the show, the roar of the music, and the crowd's applause, the warning was misinterpreted as a technical issue with the sound system. The critical moment came during the show's crowning number, the Hurricane Ride, a complex maneuver in which Savannah was to ride on the rostrum while the orca performed a series of rapid spins before a vertical jump. As they began this element, Nova's body language changed abruptly. Her echolocation clicks became rapid and intense, audible even through the show's music. Instead of the planned smooth spin, Nova suddenly accelerated. Her massive body violently twisted to the left. This force threw Savannah nearly 5 meters across the entire tank. Before she could activate her emergency rescue device, Nova was already upon her. The first strike was devastating. Nova's jaws, possessing a bite force of over 8.5 tons, clamped down on Savannah's torso. The crowd's applause turned to screams of horror as Nova began shaking her head from side to side. This motion nauseatingly resembled how orcas tear apart seals in the wild. An immediate wave of panic threatened to escalate into chaos. But instructions blared from the park's emergency loudspeakers, urging everyone to remain calm. Security personnel, stationed at every aisle, began signaling sections of spectators for controlled evacuation, while others were instructed to temporarily stay in their seats so paramedics could reach the pool unimpeded. Families huddled together. Some parents tried to shield their children from the horrifying sight, and sobs and gasps rolled through the stands. Park staff repeated calls for order, knowing that panicked flight to the exits would only hinder rescue efforts. What followed was 7 minutes of escalating horror. Unlike previous orca incidents, where animals typically release trainers after initial contact, Nova's attack was relentless and methodical. She repeatedly dragged Savannah to the bottom of the 11-meter tank, holding her underwater for increasingly longer periods. During one surfacing, Nova tossed Savannah's body into the air, catching it again with predatory precision, a hunting technique documented in wild orcas. The water, usually crystal clear, began to cloud with blood as Nova's powerful teeth inflicted catastrophic damage. Each time they surfaced, Nova seemed to become even more frenzied. She ignored emergency recall signals, food thrown into the water, and even high-frequency underwater tones designed to disorient orcas in emergencies. At one point, Nova pinned Savannah against the underwater viewing window, giving terrified spectators a close-up view of the attack that would haunt them forever. Assistant trainer Miguel Rodriguez attempted to deploy the emergency net system, but the mechanism jammed. Senior trainer Lisa Cooper activated the underwater recall signals, a system designed to summon orcas to a separate medical pool. Nova appeared to be in a state that marine mammal experts would later call behavioral lockdown, completely unresponsive to external stimuli. The emergency response team finally managed to separate Nova from Savannah using a specialized towing system. Paramedics pronounced her dead at 11:47 a.m., citing extensive trauma and drowning as the immediate causes of death. The subsequent investigation revealed a complex picture of ignored warnings. Although Savannah had documented Nova's troubling behavior, she herself fell victim to a common phenomenon among experienced trainers: the belief that their bond with the animal would overcome any risks. Despite her own written concerns, Savannah continued performing with Nova, trusting their 5-year connection and her ability to manage the orca's behavior. Other senior trainers who witnessed Nova's deterioration remained silent, trapped between professional duty and genuine concern for their colleague. Internal documents showed that staff concerns about the orca's increasingly aggressive and unpredictable behavior were repeatedly reported and dismissed. That final technical issue with the filtration system apparently became the trigger that pushed the already unstable animal over the edge. But the true cause of the failure lay in the collective denial of the obvious distress signals that Nova was sending. The park faced serious consequences. Numerous safety violations were identified. Particular emphasis was placed on management's decision to continue the performance despite documented concerns about Nova's behavior. Gulf Coast Park's insurance costs skyrocketed, and attendance plummeted. By early 2016, the park announced its permanent closure. Nova was transferred to a larger facility with stricter animal behavior assessment protocols. She never performed with trainers in the water again, living out her remaining years in a more controlled environment. Savannah's death underscored the critical need to recognize behavioral warnings and the dangers of overconfidence when working with powerful predators. Her story serves as a harsh reminder that no bond, no matter how strong, can override the unpredictable nature of these animals. And yet, as tragic as these warnings were, they proved insufficient. On the other side of the world in Japan, one trainer thought it was a good idea to stage a show involving orcas and dolphins simultaneously, a decision that would soon prove to be a catastrophic mistake. December 8, 2013, Kamagawa SeaWorld Oceanarium, Japan, was preparing for its daytime winter show. The fresh winter air carried the scent from the Pacific Ocean, enveloping the area where visitors gathered early, eager to see what the park advertised as a groundbreaking demonstration of interspecies cooperation. But what began as an ambitious performance would soon become a tragic reminder of nature's unpredictable power. 45-year-old Robert Wilson stood at the edge of the main pool, reviewing his notes from the morning session. His path to the position of senior trainer at Kamagawa was unconventional. After working as a veterinary surgeon in Australia for 12 years, he became disillusioned with dealing with the aftermath of marine mammal incidents rather than preventing them. In 2008, while treating 3 severely injured dolphins at Australia's Marine World, he developed innovative rehabilitation methods involving behavioral modification. His success caught the attention of Kamagawa Sea, which was seeking a specialist with both medical knowledge and behavioral expertise for its expanding marine mammal program. The transition from veterinarian to trainer took 2 years of intensive training, including learning Japanese and completing Kamagawa's rigorous certification program. By 2010, Robert had taken his place as one of only 3 Western trainers at the facility, respected for his methodical approach to animal behavior and his ability to blend Eastern and Western training philosophies. Kamagawa Sea opened in 1970, initially focusing on dolphin rehabilitation and research. The facility expanded in 2005 when they acquired Kaya, an 18-foot female orca from a European park. As the park's only orca, Kaya was kept in an enclosure adjacent to the dolphin pools, a common practice for smaller marine parks. What began as a necessity due to space constraints turned into an opportunity when management noticed Kaya's apparent tolerance for neighboring dolphins during separate training sessions. By 2012, facing competition from larger parks, Kamagawa's leadership began exploring the possibility of mixed-species performances. They cited successful examples of joint performances with different dolphin species and pointed to Kaya's calm behavior during parallel trainings. Despite concerns from some staff, the potential to offer something unprecedented in Asian marine parks proved too tempting to ignore. Robert initially supported cautious development of the program, but as trainings progressed, his concerns grew. His expertise in marine mammal behavior made him particularly sensitive to subtle stress indicators. He documented changes in Kaya's swimming patterns and vocalizations, especially when she shared the performance pool with dolphins during rehearsals. The addition of a new male dolphin, Mizu, in November 2013 further complicated the dynamics. That morning, Robert submitted an official report expressing his concern about Kaya's increasingly territorial behavior during joint trainings. He recommended suspending the mixed species program until further assessment, but with the fully sold-out holiday season approaching, management decided to proceed with the performance using modified safety protocols. At 2:15 p.m., as visitors filled the stadium, Robert watched Kaya swim in increasingly chaotic patterns. The show began at 2:30. Kaya and 3 Pacific white-sided dolphins performed their choreographed routines. The audience watched in amazement as the massive orca moved alongside the smaller cetaceans, unaware of the building tension beneath the water's surface. 20 minutes into the performance, Mizu slightly deviated from his assigned position, entering a zone designated as Kaya's performance territory. The orca's reaction was immediate and ferocious. Years of isolation combined with territorial instincts provoked an aggressive response that no training could suppress. Robert, realizing the danger, initiated emergency separation procedures. But before the dolphins could be recalled to their separate pool, Kaya lunged at Mizu. Robert positioned himself to guide the dolphin away, a standard protective maneuver that had worked in previous situations. However, this time Kaya's trajectory changed. The attack was swift and destructive. With her first strike, Kaya knocked Robert off the platform into the water, which was at a temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. Before he could activate his emergency signaling device, she seized him in her jaws, crushing his torso. The audience's gasps of astonishment turned to screams as the water turned red with blood. Support staff rushed to their emergency posts, but Kaya's chaotic movements prevented the deployment of rescue nets. The presence of panicking dolphins in the pool complicated the rescue efforts. Their erratic thrashing seemed only to intensify Kaya's aggression. For 3 horrifying minutes, Robert endured a series of furious attacks. Kaya repeatedly dragged him underwater, surfacing only to shake him before submerging again. Between attacks, he tried issuing control commands in English and Japanese, His training instincts persisted even as his strength faded. The park's rapid response team struggled with the unprecedented crisis. They had protocols for orca incidents and for dolphin emergencies, but nothing that accounted for both simultaneously. At 2:53 p.m., Kaya dragged Robert to the bottom of the 12-meter tank, pinning him against the acrylic viewing window. When diver rescuers finally reached him, his emergency vest was torn off, and he was unconscious. Despite immediate medical intervention and cardiopulmonary resuscitation, Robert's death was pronounced at 3:47 p.m. at Kamagawa's main hospital. The investigation revealed how Kaya's isolation, territorial instincts, and performance stress from mixed species shows created a deadly situation. The practice of combining orcas with smaller cetaceans, while innovative, failed to account for fundamental aspects of orca behavior. Kamagawa Sea immediately suspended its mixed species program. Following Japanese protocols for marine mammal incidents, Kaya was transferred to a specialized research center in Nago. The park returned to species-separated performances and implemented new safety measures that influenced marine parks across Asia. Robert's death led to significant changes in international marine park protocols. The Japanese Association of Marine Parks and Aquariums developed strict guidelines prohibiting mixed performances involving orcas, which were subsequently adopted worldwide. His experience in both veterinary medicine and training helped establish new standards for assessing behavioral risks in captive marine mammals. Nevertheless, those close to Robert remember not only his professional achievements. Outside his demanding schedule at Kamagawa, he volunteered at local animal shelters and organized beach cleanups. Driven by a deep conviction that humanity owes the ocean the same compassion it shows to land life, friends recall that on his days off, he conducted free veterinary seminars for underfunded wildlife protection initiatives, never hesitating to share his expertise for a good cause. Today, Robert's story serves as a key example in marine mammal training programs worldwide, emphasizing the danger of prioritizing innovation over established safety principles. His tragic death continues to influence how institutions approach the complex issues of managing isolated orcas in captivity, ensuring that the pursuit of unique entertainment never again jeopardizes fundamental understanding of marine mammal behavior. Our videos expose the dangers of turning orcas into entertainment. We have told countless stories where trainers lost their lives, proving that these intelligent beings are tired of being exploited for profit. They want freedom in their own ocean. But we have never shared a case like the next one. 2 trainers attacked simultaneously during a live show. If there is a story that should end these performances, it's this one. By the end, you as a viewer should be convinced that orca shows must be banned forever. And now, let's dive into this horrifying next story. March 15, 2007, began as a momentous day at the Mediterranean SeaWorld Park in Valencia, Spain. But it ended in a tragedy that forever changed Marine Park's approach to performances involving multiple orcas. The morning sun sparkled on the surface of the performance pool, where trainers prepared for the debut of a new duet number. No one could predict that the meticulous integration of 2 orcas, which had proceeded successfully over months of preparation, would lead to the deaths of Europe's 2 most experienced trainers. Mediterranean SeaWorld grew from humble beginnings. Founded in 1995 by marine biologist Dr. Antonio Ruiz, the center initially focused on rehabilitating injured sea turtles and dolphins off Spain's eastern coast. By 2000, it had expanded to include public education and performances, earning a reputation for its commitment to both entertainment and research. The park's centerpiece was an 8-million-gallon orca enclosure with underwater viewing galleries and a 4,000-seat stadium. At the heart of the park's success was Estrella, a nearly 6-meter female orca caught off the coast of Iceland in 1999. Known for her precise movements and reliable temperament, she had performed in hundreds of shows without incident. Her primary trainer, Rebecca Torres, had worked with her for 6 years, developing an impressive repertoire of tricks that made their show the park's main attraction. Rebecca's path to senior trainer began in her hometown of Buenos Aires, Argentina. As the daughter of a veterinarian, she spent her childhood rehabilitating injured wild animals. After earning a degree in marine biology, she worked with dolphins in Argentina before being invited to Mediterranean SeaWorld in 2001. At 29, she became one of Europe's most respected orca trainers, known for her keen attention to animal behavior and safety protocols. The park's expansion plans included adding a male orca to create more dynamic performances. Mateo, a male over 6 meters long, arrived from France's Marineland in December 2006. His trainer, Michael Weber, transferred with him to ensure continuity of care. 34-year-old Michael brought 13 years of experience with marine mammals, including 4 years as Matteo's primary trainer in France. His passion for marine life began in childhood in Hamburg, where he volunteered at the local aquarium. After studying marine biology at Kiel University, he dedicated his career to cetaceans. The integration process was methodically planned over 6 months. First, Estrella and Matteo were introduced through adjacent pools, allowing them to observe each other while remaining physically separated. Gradually, they spent time in the same pool under close supervision, showing positive social behavior that encouraged the training staff. By March, they executed joint trainings flawlessly, leading to the decision to debut their combined show. The morning of March 15th began with a final rehearsal at 7 a.m. Both orcas performed perfectly, executing synchronized jumps and tail slaps with precision. The stadium's acoustics, water quality, and emergency equipment were checked. Rebecca and Michael reviewed their positions and signals one last time. Their confidence was based on months of preparation. At 11:30 a.m., as 2,000 spectators filled the stadium, the show began. Estrella and Matteo swam into the main pool to enthusiastic applause. Their black and white bodies glided gracefully through the water. The first part showcased their individual strengths, Estrella's aerial tricks and Matteo's powerful jumps. Everything went according to plan until the pivotal middle segment. At 11:47 a.m., during the synchronized swimming portion, both trainers entered the water. Rebecca positioned herself at Estrella's dorsal fin, while Michael prepared to join Matteo. The number involved parallel swimming, with both orcas maintaining precise distance from each other. What happened next unfolded so quickly that many spectators initially thought it was part of the show. Matteo suddenly veered off his path, wedging himself between Estrella and Rebecca. In the wild, this movement would be seen as a display of dominance. In the confined space of the performance pool, it triggered an immediate reaction. Estrella, perceiving it as a challenge to her established territory, lunged at Matteo with unexpected speed. Rebecca, caught between the two massive orcas, had no time to react. The water exploded into chaos as Estrella, possibly attempting to protect her trainer or assert dominance, seized Rebecca's leg in her jaws. Michael immediately dove toward them, but Matteo, likely responding to the sudden aggression, grabbed him by the torso. The next 4 minutes unfolded in horrifying detail. The crowd's applause turned to screams of horror as both trainers were dragged under the surface time and again. The water, maintained at 11 degrees Celsius, turned red. Emergency response teams rushed to their posts, but the presence of 2 agitated orcas complicated their rescue efforts. Carlos Mendoza, the facility's senior safety coordinator, activated the pool's emergency lift floors, while other staff deployed nets and rescue poles. But each time they tried to separate the orcas, the animals responded with heightened aggression. Estrella repeatedly dragged Rebecca to the bottom of the tank, releasing her only briefly before seizing her again. Matteo maintained his crushing grip on Michael, thrashing him in the water with devastating force. At 11:52 a.m., diver rescuers finally managed to pull Rebecca from the water, but the damage was catastrophic. Despite immediate attempts at cardiopulmonary resuscitation, she was pronounced dead at the scene from a combination of severe trauma and drowning. Michael, extracted nearly a minute later, was rushed to La Fay Hospital, where doctors fought for his life for 2 hours. He succumbed to his injuries at 1:15 p.m. The subsequent investigation revealed critical oversights in understanding orca social dynamics during high-energy performances. Although Estrella and Matteo showed compatibility during trainings, the stressful atmosphere of a live show, with its acoustic changes, crowd energy, and complex choreography, fundamentally altered their social interaction. The simultaneous presence of both trainers in the water unintentionally created a situation where territorial and protective instincts overrode months of training. Mediterranean SeaWorld immediately suspended all orca performances. Estrella was transferred to a newly established marine sanctuary off the coast of Norway, and Matteo was relocated to a rehabilitation center in Iceland. The park's remaining marine mammal programs underwent thorough review, resulting in strict rules for multi-animal shows. Ultimately, the orca program was never resumed. The stadium was repurposed into a marine education center dedicated to conservation and deeper understanding of marine mammals in their natural habitat. A memorial plaque in honor of Rebecca Torres and Michael Weber serves as an eternal reminder of the risks involved in working with these powerful and intelligent creatures. A tragedy that forced the entire industry to reconsider the fragile balance between public entertainment and safety. This incident was particularly shocking, as it became the first recorded case in history of human deaths in Spain during an orca show and the world's first attack in which 2 trainers were harmed simultaneously. 2 years later, in 2009 on Tenerife, another serious incident occurred when Alexis Martinez was subjected to an aggressive orca attack during training. Although this time the attack was not fatal, it once again underscored the danger of close interactions with orcas in captivity. Thank you for watching these blood-chilling stories of orca attacks. They remind us that even our best efforts cannot always protect us from the unforeseen power of these ocean giants. If you're ready to see more heart-wrenching encounters with orcas, you can watch our compilation. See you there.